Well, greetings and welcome to another edition of STL Soccer Talk, the video edition. I'm Tom Timmerman. This is Carter Chapley, who we're going to start calling Chap. Or maybe next week we'll call him Lee. We're going to rotate these things as the time goes on. And anyway, Carter, since we were last here, last time we talked about, well, actually we weren't here last time.
We weren't.
We were out on the field, and now we're back here. So actually, since we were last here, City has lost twice, which at one point seemed unfathomable. Only to those who weren't paying attention. But it has now happened twice. And what do we make of this team that has now lost two in a row?
Well, I feel like at some point the league was going to figure out the best way to approach City SC. Teams would have enough game film to look at what they were going to do. Mm-hmm. And it felt like these two past games were significantly different in the way they were played from an opposing standpoint. And so now it's the responsibility of manager Bradley Carnell and the local 11 to respond, to find ways of breaking how other teams want to play against you. And that being said, they're also playing some of the better teams in MLS now. Finally, some top tier sides, which will continue this week. But
they will.
Perhaps playing these top tier sides is a good reminder that the season is in fact very, very long.
Extremely long by any standard. And I think if you were to look, if you had taken the 34-game schedule at the start of the season and ranked, the difficulty of winning them, I think last week at Seattle would have been very high on the list. A very tough place to go in and play.
If not the highest.
Yeah, it might have been number one, if not two to LAFC maybe. But it was going to be up there. That was going to be one of the hardest games all season to win. And they didn't. They hung with them. The first half was fairly give and take. And the second half kind of the wheels came off, the wings came off, anything that could come off kind of came off.
A true yard sale.
Yes, it was. Anything up for grabs at that point. So, but they hung in against the best team, but obviously moral victories yield 0 points in the standings. And now they get Cincinnati, which some would say right now is the best team in the league again, after Cincinnati or after Seattle last week. So it's another tough challenge against unbeaten, because they have only wins and ties this season, FC Cincinnati.
And St. Louis City SC has yet to have a tie, so it's interesting to keep an eye out for at home this weekend. But FC Cincinnati has a local connection, do they not?
They do. The coach of FC Cincinnati, Pat Noonan, a DeSmet grad, who then fled town to go to school in Indiana. But
a true Hoosier.
Literally a Hoosier, but learned his soccer here with Scott Gallagher Club and DeSmet High, and I was just talking to him today about those Metro Catholic League games and what he took from that and the outstanding coaching that he got, which is one of the things that has made St. Louis into the soccer place it is, which it kind of punches above its weight with developing soccer players, and it's because of the coaching and because it's got the Mike Gavains of the world who have trained generations of players. So that's one of the things that St. Louis has had going for it.
Now, shifting off of particularly St. Louis City SC and talking about that culture and history, we saw one of St. Louis's very finest in St. Louis last night with the U.S. women's national team. Becky Sabron almost had her moment.
There would have been something. We've talked about it with Becky for years. Will she ever score a goal with the national team? She has scored goals with her clubs, but not with the national team. Puts a header off the bar. In the third minute, they've been drawing up plays for her, and she has said she doesn't want to do it on a penalty kick. She wants it to come in play, and she almost got it. She snuck in there. She was at the penalty spot. She was all alone, but she needed to either put it to the side or put it. Well, I mean, it was pretty much straight at the goalie. So that was one challenge. But if you put it a little to the side, that was
firmer, perhaps.
A little firmer. That was a challenge there for an opportunity there for the taking, but. The first, and it will certainly not be the last time we see either the U.S. national team or other international soccer at City Park. That's something you'll see. The Gold Cup is coming this summer, so you'll get 2 international games there, and it's only going to be inevitable that while the U.S. won't be playing any qualifiers for a while because they're automatically in the next World Cup, but you will see the U.S. playing games here at City Park.
And what an especially fun time to be in St. Louis to appreciate soccer. You have a professional team, you have a new home for some national team games, and who knows, we might see some other countries come and play, like Canada at that Gold Cup, which I would be particularly excited for personally.
Indeed. We'll talk about this and more, much more, because it's longer, on the podcast, the STL Today, the STL Soccer Talk podcast on stltoday.com. So if you want to hear more, and why wouldn't you? Come on, let's get serious. Drop in on the podcast. It's there. You can find it at stltoday.com or any place you find podcasts, maybe in a sock drawer or something. They're all there. Plus, gobs of coverage of St. Louis City SC and other soccer in the pages of the Post-Dispatch and on stltoday.com. So get a subscription, get a digital subscription, watch the podcast, watch the video. Well, you're already watching the video, so I don't need to tell you to do that.
Watch last week's video.
Yes, and continue to watch videos. And keep going. Watch them again and again. But in the meantime, for Tom and Carter, be seeing you.